Updated February 25, 2019, 17 hours 52 minutes and 35 seconds. A Sydney court has quashed the misconduct conviction of former NSW Labor Minister Ian MacDonald, who has been behind bars since 2017. Key points. Ian MacDonald, granted a mining exploration license to a company run by former union boss John Maitland, was jailed in 2017 for 10 years for misconduct. NSW Premier Gladys Berejiklian said her government would consider whether fresh legal action can be taken. Just hours later, Mr. MacDonald walked free from Sydney's Long Bay jail and called for an immediate inquiry into several of the ICAC matters which have involved me and others. There was much in the way of exculpatory evidence which was hidden from the original inquiry, which has set the scene, I believe, for a long period of victimization that I've experienced in the media, he said. Mr. MacDonald said he absolutely maintained his innocence and thanked his family and friends who had stuck by me through this long period. I will now be spending the rest of the day with my family, he said. In court this morning, Mr. MacDonald's wife, Anita Jill Seth, burst into tears and put her face in her hands when she heard he would receive bail. Mr. MacDonald was jailed for 10 years after being found guilty of misconduct in a public office over the granting of a mining exploration license at Doyle's Creek in the Hunter Valley. A jury found he engaged in misconduct in public office by issuing the mine license without a competitive tender to a company run by ex-union boss John Maitland. Mr. MacDonald had a non-parole period of 7 years, while Mr. Maitland was jailed for 6 years with a non-parole period of 4 for being an accessory. The license was issued in December 2008 by direct allocation, when Mr. MacDonald was the NSW Minister for Primary Industries and Resources. Mr. Maitland later earned $6 million from the sale of shares in the venture. The Crown alleged the decision lost the state tens of millions of dollars at a time of budget restraint. At their trial, both men argued the mine license was issued legally and denied any wrongdoing. Mr. MacDonald's lawyers argued he granted the license because of the merits of the proposal and not because he was mates with Mr. Maitland. The former Labour minister also argued his sentence was excessive and the jury had no absolute proof his intentions were corrupt when he signed off on the main license. In his appeal, Mr. Maitland said he was not responsible for any wrongdoing by Mr. MacDonald. In quashing the men's convictions, the Court of Criminal Appeal panel was critical of the way the trial judge, Justice Christine Adamson, summed the case up for the jury. The panel found she misdirected the jurors about the state of mind needed to be found guilty of willful misconduct in public office. It follows, in our opinion, with the greatest respect to the trial judge, that the jury was not properly directed on the mental element of the offense, their judgment said. Mr. Maitland walked free from Silverwater Correctional Complex and thanked his family and supporters. It's good to be free, he said. The most important thing is that I've got my family with me. They've been through a massive emotional and financial trauma, NSW Attorney General Mark Speakman said. The court granted a retrial of the charges. The independent director of public prosecutions will have carriage of the matter and I will expect the matter will be prosecuted in the usual full and fair manner, he said. Given that there will be retrial or retrials, any further commentary from me would be inappropriate at this stage. The case will be mentioned in court again in March. New legal action a possibility. Premier Gladys Berejiklian said her government would consider whether fresh legal action could be taken. I don't want to jeopardize any future proceedings, but I'll say it's always concerning, she said. During Mr. MacDonald's sentencing in 2017, Justice Adamson described him as devious, and said he betrayed the people of NSW. The two had a misplaced sense of entitlement, she added, and neither had good prospects of rehabilitation, because they showed no remorse. At the time, Ms. Berejiklian and then opposition leader Luke Foley welcomed the sentence, with Ms. Berejiklian describing Mr. MacDonald as representing the darkest years of the Labour government. We don't ever want to see that return to New South Wales, she said at the time. Any elected representative who does that wrongly by the people of the state deserves the book. thrown at them. Mr. MacDonald, in his 1988 maiden speech in the NSW Parliament, spoke in support of an anti-corruption body, which would later become the Independent Commission Against Corruption, ICAC. Mr. MacDonald told fellow MPs the ICAC bill should not be allowed through the chamber without appropriate amendment and argued it could be used for political witch hunts. The Commission's findings would, in 2013, be used against him. During the appeal, Mr. MacDonald argued there was a miscarriage of justice because prosecutors used evidence compulsorily obtained from him at the ICAC. Topics: crime, law, crime and justice, politics and government. Sydney 2000. First posted February 25, 2019. 9 hours 51 minutes and 26 seconds.